If it is clear, we could have seen the pyramid to the right side. It's 1 o'clock direction, if you can imagine it. Yes, I can see it now.
Tahrir Square was an extraordinary moment in time. Ordinary people rose up and took control of their society.
This week is an extraordinary opportunity to bring together top young Egyptian and American journalists as a team and get them to work together on trying to cover this dramatically unfolding story about a changing Egypt.
When you take talented young individuals from one culture and bring them together with talented young individuals from another culture, amazing things occur. They get together and they create something that is new, that is unique, and that is exceptional.
January 25th, as you all know, is the start of the revolution in Egypt. So let's take that as the point where we sort of introduce ourselves. Where were you at that time?
And I was in Du'i, which is very near to El Tahrir, and I can hear the voices of the people chanting in the march. We really want to go and leave our offices. And I remember that our editor-in-chief, Rania, was sitting there nobody is getting out. You have to stay, you have to do your job. There are other people who are doing their jobs.
I am going to be saying the exact same thing.
There was like a borderline between being a journalist and being a protester. And at this specific moment, I decided, no, I'm not going to write anything. I'm going to just protest. I had certain people who were injured, and I've seen people die. I spent all night throwing rocks and Molotov cocktails at our attackers. I wrote a report about it, too, but I think the line was really blurred.
We had gunshots on our windshields, we had tear gas canisters coming into our windows, and same thing happened with every building in that street and several other streets around the Interior Ministry.
So yeah, I was working in an advertising company at the time, and I just decided, it was on that day, I just decided, no, I have to go back to my roots, I have to report on this, and I just went back to journalism.
Unfortunately, I ended up not sending my piece because I got arrested.
Were you put into jail?
Yeah. It's like an underground detention facility for the state security in Alexandria.
How long were you there?
Like 9 hours.
There's a difference between watching people chanting on a television screen on your desk than talking to someone who's recreating that moment and on the verge of tears.
Events are really unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen the next day, what's going to happen the next week.
Sometimes you forget just how amazing and incredible this story is. I mean, this story is about the human experience in many ways, so you sometimes lose sight of that.
I think, to me, I just really want to know how your ordinary Egyptian feels about what's happening.
Yes, it was utilized and it played an important role in coverage.
The program starts with a 3-day seminar, so we're bringing players from Egypt to the hotel. There'll be panels, lectures. The student journalists will be able to ask questions, gain knowledge, which will inform their reporting, which takes place in the second part of the seminar, the last 5 days. You can't look at this purely from an outsider's point of view. You really need to understand the implications of this story in Cairo, in Egypt.
This isn't just a story. This is a dramatic series of events that is unfolding in their homeland and going to change their lives. The fate of their country is in the balance.
The curve is going up and down like this, but we have nothing but to be optimistic, because if we're not optimistic, it's gone.
Charlie Sennett talks a lot about ground truth, and that really resonates. There's only so much you can read from afar and to draw your own conclusions, and there's nothing more sacred than actually watching these things happen in person and ask the people who experience them
We've been split into teams of 3 and 4, and we are looking into economics and tourism. And of course, this is a really huge topic, but we spent the day at the pyramids yesterday, and now we're going to talk to sort of an economist, a generalist, to get a big picture sense.
One of his ideas is that all this idea about a severe economic downturn is actually a matter of exaggeration, especially by the media.
Some of the labor strikes that are continuing to happen, these are the same kinds of strikes that were happening before the revolution, right?
Yes. If their demands are met, the corruption in the administration will be revealed.
From my perspective, we should try to get some.
It's interesting to see how people from outside view think and try to apply it into your understanding. It gives you new ways and new ideas that you've never thought of before.
Each team has a writer, a photographer, and some video specialists, and we're each covering a different beat, and they all intertwine eventually. But their politics is a beat, religion and civil society is another one, tourism and economics, and we're working on culture and arts. We're about to interview Muhammad Sawi. We're gonna interview him about the role of art and culture in the revolution, and in turn how the revolution will affect the art and culture scene in Egypt.
A lot of people who come to photography early on in their careers have yet to understand how to build a narrative, how to tell a story. The idea by the end of the week is that they'll have, let's say, between 12 and 30 images that can really tell the story that they were assigned to do.
I'm very emotionally involved in everything that's happening because it's home, and so I just want to get a more, distant view. So I've been talking to lots of people with different points of view, and I found that really exciting because everyone sees what's happening differently.
Well, today I came to a popular market at Taba where basically people set up stalls and are selling all types of products, and I'm trying to take an image that kind of go hand in hand, would marry the text and the rest of the work of the beat, which as we've concluded from interviews and so forth, that the economy is not in its best shape. However, things are kind of coming back slowly.
The newsroom right now is in the final stages of deadline. So what you're getting is the sort of over-caffeinated, stubbed-out cigarette, bitter end of an assignment.
For 10 days, it's been sort of a roller coaster. I mean, it was really great. We were out in the field and collecting all of our reporting and having fun. And for the past 2 days, we've been in the hotel, sort of putting that together. We had an opportunity to film Samira, who was the woman who was the only woman who filed a complaint against the military for the virginity test that was given to her when she was imprisoned after the March 9th protests.
The issue of ethics has definitely come up. In dealing with the story on Samira, I think all of us had to, really question whether or not what we were doing, the coverage that we were giving the story, was going to be beneficial or harmful.
As an editor, I've been really impressed with the teams and the way they've worked together. We've seen extraordinary reporting in the field, reporting that's given more depth by the different approaches, the different sensibilities that the two different parts of the team, American and Egyptian, coming together has really given us a stronger sense of the story, a better sense of the story.
I have come with certain ideas, and I decided to frame it in certain ways. And I was faced sometimes with criticism from our editors or from my American colleagues, and that helped a lot in changing this into a better perspective that is more suitable to a global audience.
My editors are usually Egyptians, so we know how to think Egyptian. But it's really different when you think from an outsider point of view. I like this tip that Charlie gave us about creating a sense of space.
I think that it's been wonderful because neither perspective is better than the other. It's just they're different and they build off each other in this great way. And I think you'll see that in the stories, absolutely.
The media is what keeps democracy honest. They're the branch of society whose goal it is to keep everyone else honest. That's why they have to be fair, and that's why they have to be responsible when they report.
I think the main role of journalism at this particular moment in Egypt's history is as a challenger of power, as a challenger of authority. We're living under a military dictatorship that is trying to reproduce the previous regime. We'll keep resisting any violations they commit. We will keep holding them accountable to the public.
The mission of Open Hands is to listen, is to understand, to engage, and to bring people together towards a greater goal.
The young American and Egyptian journalists gathered here tonight are the future of journalism, both in Egypt and the United States. I hope that the bonds you form in your work develop into lasting friendships and professional links that you can draw upon as you move forward in your careers.
The more people have contact with each other, and the more people can understand individuals in a society, the more likely they are to understand the society as a whole. Each of our cultures have a great amount of things to offer each other. And the more people understand each other and the more people are exposed to each other, the more likely it is that they will have a relationship that gives them some context, that they are not just words on a page.